Okay, so welcome back. So what we want to do in this training is to establish communication between two different VLANs using either a switch. Okay, actually there are two methods of establishing that. Okay, you will need a switch, sorry, a layer 3 switch. Okay, a layer 3 switch, like we said, a layer 3 switch can perform a normal switch function and a router function. Okay, so that's method one for establishing communication between different VLANs. The second method is to use a router. Okay, so you can also use a router to establish such communication between two different VLAN. Okay, so now let's say people in VLAN 10, they have some services. They have some services to be accessed in VLAN, let's say VLAN 40 and VLAN 50, for instance. So that means we need to establish connectivity between people in VLAN 10 department to VLAN 50 and VLAN 40. Maybe there are some servers here that need to be accessed, or there are some tasks that they have in common that whereby they need to share documents, share file with one another. Okay, so let's go and do this. So what we are doing right now is to establish communication between VLAN 10, VLAN 50 and VLAN 40 so that all of them can communicate. Okay, they are still on different VLAN, they are still on different LANs logically, but we want to establish communication between them. So the first method we will be using is by using router. So let's go back to our packet tracer. Okay, so we are establishing communication between these people and people in 40 and 50, right? 40 and 50. 40 and 50. Okay, and these people. Okay, let's even test currently if they can ping. Let's test if they can ping. Currently, they cannot ping. Let's check. What's the IP address of this guy? Is a 50.7, right? So let's go and ping 50.7 from ping 192.168.50.7. Okay, can you see currently they cannot communicate? Okay, same with people in VLAN 40. VLAN 40, let's check that too. Let's check that. Things timing out. So let's try people in VLAN 14, for instance. Let's try this. That's 40.6, right? 40.6. Let's ping 192.168.40.6. So currently they cannot communicate. So we want to establish that communication. So we establish communication between this and this. Okay, so you can go and play with what I will teach you, maybe to establish communication between in your own scenario. You can establish communication between VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, or just play around with it. Okay, with what I will teach you now. So now, like I said, you need a router or a layer 3 switch. So let's first make use of a layer 3 of a router. So let me pick a router. Okay, so this is a router, right? You need to plug this router to one of the empty ports on this switch. So let's see which of the ports is empty right now. Okay, we have a port 17, we have port 5 and 6 empty. So let's go and make use of port 5, for instance, port 5. Let's go and make use of port 5. Port 5. So connect your router to port 5. In this case, you will need the cable called straight through cable. Straight through cable. Click it. Click on the router. Connect it to gig 00. Then let's look for port 5, right? So this port 5. Yeah. So now let's go and do one or two configuration. First and foremost, since you will be since you connect your switch to your router, that means this link, if you remember my explanation on access mode and trunk mode, that means this link, because you are connecting it to another device, this time is not an endpoint again, then this link will be in a trunk mode. Okay, so let's go and put that link in trunk mode. So let's go and put that link in trunk mode first. So that is interface fast Ethernet. That's a fast Ethernet 05. So let's switch port mode trunk. Okay. When you put it in trunk mode, then you'll be able to send traffic for more than one VLAN. That's the meaning of that. That's the meaning of that command. Okay, so that it can be sending traffic for more than one VLAN. Okay, because you are connecting it to another device that is also capable of forwarding VLANs to different traffic. Okay, so that's that about that. So let's go to our router. Let's go to our router. Let's go to our router. Okay, so now this interface, gig 00, we need to do a particular configuration on that interface. Okay, we need to do a particular configuration on that interface, and we have to create virtual interface. That virtual interface will be the one that will now represent each of the VLAN. Okay, each of the VLAN gateway. You know, for two LANs to communicate, they need each of them need their default gateway, their exit gates. So now it is this router that we want to use to create that gateway, so that traffic will be coming from this system. For instance, we come here and we go through this place. So this router will open the gates and switch to the other gates, okay, which is a VLAN 40, for instance. Okay, so that is what we want to do on the router now. And how are we going to achieve that? We are going to configure what is called virtual interface. So we are configuring 3 virtual interface on the router. Virtual interface for this VLAN 10, virtual interface for VLAN 50, and virtual interface for VLAN 40. Okay, so let's go and do that. This is how to do it. Just go to, just say interface gig 0/0 .10. Okay, that's how to create virtual interface. I just created the virtual interface when I put .10. Okay, so that interface will be taking traffic from VLAN 10 now, okay, as the default gateway. So let's put the default gateway address there. That will be 192, no, sorry, IP address. That will be 192.168.10.1. Okay, let's make use of a .1 as our default interface. So let's put the subnet mask /24. Okay, then you press enter. Okay, before that, there is this command that we need to use. We need to add the packet format of this VLAN traffic. Okay, don't worry if you don't get that language, but there is this command that you need to use to add what is called format in which those traffic will pass through that link. Okay, so we need to, it's telling us that we can make use of this format, i.e. 802.10 or 802.1. So we need to encapsulate that traffic in what is called protocol 802.1 queue. Don't worry, just make sure that you are using this command. Encapsulation, okay, dots. You want to tell that virtual interface, we call it sub-interface too, okay? Some people call it sub-interface. So what I just created there is sub-interface or virtual interface. So now, you want to tell this sub-interface which LAN network will it be representing or will it be responding to? Okay, so that is the purpose of this command. We are telling our sub-interface which VLAN it will be responding to or which LAN network it will be responding to. So it asks me to enter my VLAN ID that I will be forwarding through that sub-interface. Okay, can you see VLAN ID? So let me put the VLAN ID, which is a VLAN 10. Okay, we are using this sub-interface for VLAN 10, right? Which is a VLAN 10. Okay, so now press enter. Press enter. Now it will now allow you to give IP address to that interface. Okay, which is the default gateway interface. Okay, so here's the IP address. Just press your up arrow key to bring up previous command you enter, and it bring this for me. Press enter. So we have assigned IP address to our sub-interface. Okay, our virtual interface that we created on the router. Okay, that is the default gateway that people in VLAN 10 will be sending their traffic to. So let's do that for other VLANs. For VLAN 20, you create a sub-interface for it. Okay, do your encapsulation so that that interface will be responding to VLAN 20. Okay, I just did that. Then let's add the IP address, the default gateway for that VLAN, which is a 20.1. Okay. Okay, we are not doing 20, we are doing 40 and 50. So let me remove this. Let me remove this immediately. We are only doing for VLAN 40 and 50, right? Okay, so that means what we are creating is a gigabit 0.40, sorry, 40. Just say interface gigabit 0.0.40. Okay, that is for VLAN 40. Let's do our encapsulation. Encapsulation .1q VLAN 40. Sorry, 40. Okay, so let's do for 50. 50 encapsulation.1q. This will be VLAN 50. Okay. And let's assign IP address. We didn't assign IP address for 40. We do that again. So this is for 50. This will be 50.1. Okay. So let's quickly do for 40. This is 40. We are under 40 now. 40 is 40.1. We've already done the calculation before now. Only that we forgot to put the IP address. So completed. So you can check what you just did by saying show IP interface brief. Okay, can you see what we just configured? Okay, currently they are all down, not up yet. Not up yet. Whenever you see administratively done, it means you, the administrator, has not put on that port using your command no shutdown. Okay, because I have not put on that interface. That is why it is as administratively done. So let's go and put on our interface. So now the interface that represent all of them, which is the physical interface. This is a physical interface, while all these ones are virtual interface. They are sub-interface. So once you put on the physical interface, or the virtual interface will come up. Okay, so it is their father. It is the controller. So let me go to interface gigabit 0/0. Okay, then let me put a command called no shutdown. Currently it is red, right? Let's go and see what will happen now. Let me just do no shutdown, then press enter. Can you see that it just turned to green? Okay, and all the sub-interface too went up. Okay, let's check. Do show IP interface. Can you see? All of them are now up. All of them are now up. So now, let's go and see if we can ping now. Let's go and see if it will work now. So let's try to reach our 40.6 again, which is the host in VLAN 40. Okay. It will not work. Let's see. It will not work. Why? Can you guess? Can you guess why? Because all the hosts are not configured yet with a default gateway. They don't have the key to their gate yet to go out. So we need to give them that key, which is the default gateway. So let's go and configure default gateway on the host, on each of the hosts. Okay, this one has a default gateway. Let's check 40. Okay, 40 does not have default gateway. Okay, let's go and configure it. That is the reason why they can't reach .1. Okay, so that's 40.5. We configure default gateway for it. Let's configure default gateway for the one we are trying to ping. It's .40.1. That's the default gateway. Okay. So let's ping again. It should go now because they now have key to their gates. Can you see? So now people in VLAN 10 can now reach people in VLAN 40. Okay. So just repeat this just configure default gateway for people in VLAN 52. Let me go and ping this first for you to know that they can't ping. This is a 50.7. Just test, just play around it. 50.7, right? Ping 192. 168.50.7. Can you see? It's not going. Currently, it's not going. Why? Because that 50.7, which is this guy, doesn't have the key to its gate yet to return the traffic. The traffic is eating it, but this guy does not know how to go back. He doesn't have the key to the gate. So we have to put the default gateway for that to happen. Okay. So 50.1, that's the default gateway. Okay, so let's ping it again. Let's ping it again. Let's ping it again. Can you see? It's working now. Okay, so just play around this, come up with your own scenario, apply all the configuration that I just did, practice and practice and practice, and you will be better at it. The more you practice, the much better you become. So this is for router. This is for router. What we use in this configuration is router. Okay. What we just use for establishing communication between two different LAN is a router. Okay. And they call this sometimes router on the stick, this particular method of establishing communication between different VLANs. Some people call it router on the stick method. Okay. It's a slang. And take note, what we just did right now is what is called inter-VLAN routing. Okay, the process of establishing communication between different VLANs, whether through a router or through a layer 3 switch. Okay, that process is called inter-VLAN routing. So what we just did in this class is what is called inter-VLAN routing. Okay, so take note of that. So go and practice and practice. So in the next class, we will be making use of a layer 3 switch. Okay, a layer 3 switch instead of a router. Okay, that is the second method of establishing communication between two different VLANs. See you in the next class.